Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's Wacky Wednesday, and on Wacky Wednesdays we tell scary stories and you guys get to decide whether it's a wacky story or it's a true story. So let me know in the comment section down below if you think this story is wacky or if you think this story is true. But before we get into that video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and also don't forget to ring that little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you guys know every time I upload a new video. So every Wednesday we tell these stories and I hope you guys are enjoying Wacky Wednesdays. Let me know in the comment section. Anyway, today we're gonna be telling the story The Girl in the Basement Window. So this story starts with a couple who've been married for years and they decide that they want to go out for a nice romantic dinner. So they need a sitter. So they call the neighbor and they ask around for a sitter, and finally they come on to this girl. Her name is Cheryl and she's gonna be their babysitter for the night. So Cheryl comes in pretty happy, ready to work, and they tell her that she will be babysitting their 6-year-old daughter and the 3-year-old son, and that they should be in bed by 8, and that they left the phone numbers on the refrigerator, and they gave them their number just in case of an emergency or anything where she should call. So the parents leave and she goes inside, and it's like around 7:30, so she's about ready to start getting the kids, prepared for bed. So she does that. She's getting them prepared, and as she's getting them prepared and she walks into the rooms, she's feeling like this eerie feeling, like the feeling when the hairs on your arm start standing up, that feeling you get. Well, that's the feeling that she's getting. So she continues to get them ready. She tries to brush that feeling off because she really wants the money. She's a teenager. She wants to go buy stuff, pay her phone, whatever it is she wants to do. So she's taking care of the kids. She's putting them in their PJs. She goes, "You guys want me to tell you a story?" They say, "Yeah." So she sits down and she tells them the story of Little Red Riding Hood, and they're both very happy and they both fall asleep. So she goes and sits on the couch and she starts studying for a test that she's having in school. She has her phone right next to her and she has a TV on at the same time, and she has music going on in her headphones. So she gets a message and she doesn't hear the phone vibrating, so she continues to write. But then all of a sudden she sees like the light go off on her phone. So she looks at her phone and her phone says turn the music down. So she's like, huh? So she's thinking that it's her boyfriend, since her boyfriend knows that she's always listening to music and stuff like that. So she's like, oh, okay. So she turns the music off in her headphones and she texts her boyfriend, "Stop playing with me." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He texts her back like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Whatever, you just text me." And he goes, "No, I didn't." So she's like, "Okay, whatever." So she continues to do her work. The little girl comes down and tells her that she heard something in her window, like tapping on her window. So she goes upstairs and she looks up the window, and she can't see anything because it's pitch black, but she doesn't see anybody out there or anything. So she goes, "Are you sure, or are you just scared?" So the little girl is like, "No, I know, I heard it." So she puts her back in her bed and she goes downstairs again. And then all of a sudden, as she sits downstairs to study, someone knocks on the door, the front door. So she goes to the front door and she looks through the little window that's in the front door, and she didn't see anybody. So she turns off on the porch lights and there's no one there. So she turns it back on and she goes back, and now she's starting to become frightened. All of a sudden the house phone rings. So she runs to the phone and she picks up the phone, and it's the children's parents, and they're like, "Hey, how's everything going? Are the kids in bed?" And she's like, "Yeah, everything is fine. I'm just a little bit scared. Someone was knocking on the door and someone was knocking on the window of the kids' room." So they're like, "No, that can't be. Just don't worry. Everything is fine. Let us know if we can help you." So she goes, "Okay." So she goes back and sits down and she's watching. Now she's just studying. She has the music off, the TV off, because now she's a little bit scared. And then all of a sudden she hears a knock at the back door. So she's like really scared. She walks over to the back door. She looks out the peek hole and there's no one there. So she's really terrified. So she goes upstairs and she checks on the kids, and the kids are both up crying. And she goes, "What's the matter?" And they're like, "We're scared. We're hearing noises." So she takes both of the kids down to the couch and she sits down with both of them, and she turns off the light and she puts each of them on her lap and she tells them to go to sleep. All of a sudden it's like banging now on the door, like banging really really hard. So she gets up, she runs to the door, she looks to the peephole, she don't see anyone. So she takes the house phone, she takes the kids and she runs into the basement. She locks the door and she goes to the basement and she's calling the cops. And as she's calling the cops, she looks up at the window, at the basement window, and there's a little girl at the window staring back at her with the creepiest look on her face. So she's screaming at the telephone. I'm babysitting, and she gives them the address, and she goes, and there's a little girl staring at me at the basement window, and she's screaming, please come help me. So minutes later, the cops come. The parents get home because she called the parents. Everybody comes home, and they run around. The cops look all around the house. They find nothing. They go upstairs. They find nothing. They go downstairs. They find nothing. There's no one there. So she's telling them, I'm sure there was someone here. And they're like, but how are you so sure? And she goes, because I saw the girl in the basement window. Father looks at her and he says, that's impossible. And she goes, what do you mean? I saw her with my own eyes. And he goes, that's impossible because we don't have any basement windows.
Possible because we don't have any basement windows.
So the girl was taken for an evaluation because they thought she was losing her mind. But she really thought she saw a girl in the basement window. Anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you think this is a true story or a wacky story down in the comment section. I love you guys so much, and I see you guys in my next video. Bye!